All right, stay with me here. If you can imagine a reality where a space has now been created where that really super detrimental, damaging belief has now been pushed out of the way. It's not going to be completely gone instantaneously, of course, but you've just pushed it out of the way for a moment. And now there's a space there. There's a space that's been created in the absence of this story that you've continued to tell yourself, that you've always told yourself, that your parents told you, that bullies in high school told you, or what have you. There's now this story is actually off the table. And you've got all this space. What would you do with that space? What could you do with that space? What empowering belief could you put there in its place? The great thing about changing your limiting beliefs is not only are you getting rid of something bad, but you're actually making space for something good. Something you have to kind of do every single day, and it's something that you have to catch yourself when you start revisiting that old story or that old pattern. You have to catch yourself and you have to stop yourself and you have to say, nope, actually, we're thinking this now. What would be possible if I didn't have this limiting belief? What would be possible? What can I do? Could I make $1 million? Could I start that business? Could I own a shop like that one? Could I be a fashion designer? Could I meet the love of my life? So the previous step was all about conjuring up that discomfort, right? That denial, the things that make us uncomfortable or make us feel that stuck feeling. But this step is designed to sort of initiate that pleasurable feeling. How good is it going to feel if I did believe that I can meet the love of my life, that I'm going to meet the love of my life soon, that I'm going to be able to afford to live in that dream house that I always wanted to live in? Giving yourself permission to think about that pleasure and think about that magic of what that's going to feel like, not if, but when those good things, those great things, those things you dream about start to manifest in your life. Example, if I did get that promotion at work, if it were possible, if the system weren't against me, if my boss didn't hate me, if all of that was gone, and I did get the promotion, what would I be able to do? How would I be able to help my family? How would I be able to take care of my kids better and go on those trips and take those vacations? Because I got the promotion. I got what I wanted, and go figure, no one's trying to stop me. So this step is really just all about getting rid of that old unhealthy belief, replacing it with a new one, with a healthy one that supports who you want to be and where you want to go, and commit to this new narrative, commit to this new story. Even if it's hard to believe it at first, you do have a choice in what you believe. You don't have to subscribe to the same old stories that you've been telling yourself. I guess I'm jumping ahead a little bit because this is sort of a nice segue into number 4, but number 4 is to create a new and empowering belief. Like I said, I've been mixing these all up. I was totally talking about that in number 3, but it's actually number 4. But anyway, here we are at number 4, creating this new and empowering belief. This step's really easy, you guys. You can't mess it up. Okay, now I want you to look at that disempowering belief, okay? I want you to look at that again. Look at that little sentence or that little phrase or that one thing that keeps nagging and gnawing at you. And now I want you to think of the polar opposite of that. If you were to design a statement that was the polar opposite of the belief that you identified in step number 1, what would that be? I'll give you a minute. Got it? Okay, now, so I recognize that for some of you, this might be the very first moment that you're ever having to really realize and say, oh geez, that's just a story. Because when we have something that is a belief for us, it's almost like a non-negotiable. It's something that you don't even know is a choice or is there at all, because it's just something that has become a part of your being and your way of thinking and your way of just sort of moving through the world. So this might be the first time that you're actually able to isolate it as something that you've chosen, because it is a choice and it is something that you have chosen to buy into, and therefore you can also choose to get rid of it. So now, what is the opposite of that story? It doesn't matter how many times you told it to yourself before. It doesn't matter if it's something you've been carrying with you since you were a little child. It doesn't matter if you woke up this morning believing it was true. We want to find the opposite of that belief. We want to identify that right here, right now. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this new belief, the opposite of the other one. I want you to make a phrase or an affirmation with it. Here's an example. I'm too old to do this. I'm too old to change directions or change careers. Now the opposite. Actually, I'm not too old. Actually, I have a lot of experience. Actually, I can use everything that I've done and everything that I've learned up to now to take with me into something new. Actually, I have an advantage over people who are young and inexperienced. Actually, I'm grown and I know who I am now, and I know things now that I would have never been able to understand when I was 25 or 30 or 35. So from I'm too old, it's too late for me, to I've learned so much that can be such a great advantage to me, and now is the perfectly right time. This new belief actually becomes a new belief that can support you. And there's no limit as to how many times you can repeat it to yourself. I know for me, I wake up every morning and I say my new affirmations, and I say them about 10 times in the morning, just to start that process of reprogramming my brain and for the things that I want to become a part of my new reality. Anyway, guys, if you showed up today, if you made it through this video, you obviously have already set the intention and you've already set it in motion that you want to make a change. And it's not easy to look at some of the things that we're doing to ourselves to hold ourselves back. So if you're doing that work, if you just started the process, bravo, because you started. And that does mean something. It does count for something. And you can check out the book by Byron Katie, and you can always refer back to these 4 steps to, first and foremost, of course, just identify that thought that's bringing you down, how you can adjust it, and eventually replace it with something that is uplifting and that is going to put you in gear and in motion towards getting all the things that you want and deserve in life. Anyways, guys, thank you for sitting through this non-business related video. I hope you got something out of it. If you would kindly like and subscribe, and I will see you guys very soon in the next video.